To chair the session, may I now call upon Dr. GYANI and Dr. Vikram Matthews to kindly take the stage. GYANI, known as the father of healthcare quality in India, the founder, CEO of NABH, Founder, Director General, Association of Healthcare Providers, Secretary General, Quality Council of India, Board Director of International Accreditation Forum, and he is also the recipient of numerous awards for his contributions to fields of standardization, precision measurement, and quality control. He is also the proud recipient of the Lal C. Verman Award and the Rotary Centenary Award. Dr. Vikram Matthews, the Associate Director of CMC Vellore, Head of Safety. He is an expert in stem cell and leukemia biology with extensive experience in diagnosis, prognostication, and acute leukemia therapy. He is also credited with innovative therapeutic protocol using arsenic trioxide as frontline therapy in acute promyelocytic leukemia, APML. Now over to the chairpersons. I request the chairpersons to kindly introduce the speakers for the sessions.
So it is always when you speak first, always you are conscious and afraid also that hall will be half full. But I am surprised that there is no place to sit right at 9 o'clock. That is CMC Vellore. I remember I came here some time back to hand over certificate of nursing excellence. And till that time, my impression and knowledge about CMC was that CMC is an institute of excellence in medical education and, of course, research. Besides, of course, medical delivery, all those things are there. But then I realized one more element I added into my knowledge, and I then started saying that this is the institute which I consider now #1 in the country after having visited so many hospitals in nursing empowerment. Armed forces comes next. So I think this is CMC to me, and I am very happy once again to be here. And it is always a privilege to be in the campus of CMC. Now, today, of course, because this is a theme topic, and occupation, health, quality, I think you have combined all into one in 2 days. So, and because occupational health actually somehow has not been drawing much attention, although it is part of NABH in a small way, but I think it needs greater attention, and that's why I think this seminar will throw open so many other aspects of occupational health. Even the international community on, that is ISO, you must be knowing, has upgraded the standard from ISO 18001, rather OSHA 18001 to now it has become full-fledged ISO standard 45001 on the occupational health. So anyway, I think that is in the industrial context, but it also applies to a healthcare industry. So now coming back to our session, Dr. Vikram, of course, is here. He will be chairing the session. And there are 2 more speakers after me. And my job is rather very simple today because Lallu Joseph told me that I must recollect the history of how NABH started and how NABH is today. So I think I will cover the initial part of the NABH journey, and I am sure the subsequent speaker, including my friend Narayan, will be talking a little more about NABH and all 2 days. So let us start. You see, the quality in healthcare always took the back seat in this country for the simple reason that when the supply is in the short, when the supply is short, demand is more, the quality will always take the back seat. So unfortunately, this has been the state for so many decades. Even today, we have got 0.9 beds per 1,000 population, which we need ideally 3.5, if not 5. So we are still in a short supply in the healthcare. And so obviously, the first emphasis will be that to meet the demand on the healthcare, quality comes next. Only when you are able to bring equilibrium in demand and supply, then I think the focus shifts on quality. And second aspect is that accessibility, the availability I told you 0.9 bed per thousand, but the accessibility is even greater problem because we have concentration, so much geographical unevenness that we have concentration of the hospitals in the metro town, tier 1 towns, but absolutely nothing in tier 3 and very little in tier 2. So that is another challenge which we continue to face. And that is why I think quality will have to take a still longer journey in time to come. And I think the generation next sitting here will have to take that, torch in and with them. And luckily, we have very young leaders now in the area of quality. So let me just tell you that luckily, the start of quality, in spite of this unequilibrium in demand and supply, happened by accident because of the medical tourism. Because in India, there were few hospitals which were absolutely meeting the global standard. Those hospitals started coming in demand from the overseas travelers, and with the time, then they started questioning that how do we choose a particular hospital? And so that question started coming in the circles, including at the political circles. And of course, then this question was raised in the parliament in the month of March 2005. And that question obviously was raised from the Department of Medical Tourism, rather Ministry of Tourism, let us say, where medical tourism is part of that, So that is the way, actually, if you see the demand or the mention of quality in healthcare came first time in that. Not that in medical education or in the aspect of medicine, we have been talking of this word, let us say, clinical governance is very old topic. I think I'm sure that the people sitting in CMC, they must have taught, they must have learned, they must have used this word clinical governance. But the word quality per se and word accreditation per se was, of course, never talked about and never discussed about. So this is the way, if you see the point which I am showing in front of you, that till year 2000, little bit of quality started coming into the healthcare by way of ISO 9000 certification. Because in 1987, when ISO 9000 was introduced, the first industry which got certified was in year, let us say, 1989, of course, the first industry was certified in India, and then started building up the, this impression that quality means ISO 9000, So the people started taking, and then some enthusiast hospitals also came forward, including in our Delhi Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute, that they said, okay, we will also go for ISO 9000. So the quality started entering. And then, of course, this McKinsey study, which was submitted to the government in 2002, which said that the 2 billion market is going to be about the medical tourism. So that means we started focusing, although it was a motivated study by some top hospitals, which were actually eyeing on the medical tourism business. So anyway, so that is the way it started coming, and that's what I mentioned to you, that in March 2005, the question was raised in the parliament that the people who want to come to India are asking simple question that do you have any accreditation mechanism in the healthcare so that they get confidence of selecting a particular hospital. So I think that was a very legitimate question by them, because the people who were coming as far as from USA, as far as from Europe, were having adequate knowledge about accreditation, and that's why they asked this question. And then, of course, because we were in Quality Council of India, I was Secretary General, Quality Council of India, and it is again, few accidents happen, because the Secretary, Ministry of Health, Mr. Hota, happened to know me. Otherwise, there was no connection that time of Quality Council of India with the Ministry of Health. Because he knew me and he thought it is something related to quality, so he invited me. And then, of course, the whole thing started, But good point is that after the question was raised, we went at very fast pace. You know, if you see, in March, a question was raised in Parliament, we worked on it, and into the April 2005, Quality Council of India, governing body approved the whole thing, and and immediately, we started studying the system, and the structure was defined, something like this, which still continues to be the same structure. And then in June 2005, that is a landmark actually, exactly 27th June, that, the Academy of Hospital Administration, which were doing a lot of study on this accreditation at that point of time, they had compiled a lot of documents. They formally handed over their documents to the appointed technical committee of the Quality Council of India. And I must tell you that at that point of time, it was very difficult for me to identify that who should come forward to develop this standard. Because in accreditation, let me tell some of you people sitting here that unlike in, let us say, medical laboratory, where there is an international ISO standard, 15189, there is nothing like, even till today, any international standard which applies across. So the normal practice is that each country must develop its own standard, and because ultimately there must be harmony or uniformity among the countries for the, medical tourism or any other point of view, then they created a body called ISQA, International Society for Quality in Healthcare, which is known as accreditor of accrediting body. So ISQA will evaluate your standard, whether it meets the basic requirement of patient safety and quality of care, and then they will grant you the accreditation. So that is the way India, at that point of time, we had hardly any knowledge on, this standard on accreditation, particularly in the hospitals. I had, and we had, some of us had a lot of good experience in medical laboratory, but nothing like hospital. So anyway, what I was trying to tell you is that identifying few very senior clinicians who can take interest, because whomsoever we used to talk, they say quality, no, we have no idea about quality, and somehow they were not very inclined. So getting bunch of these 6 clinicians was not easy job, but somehow I think, whatever you say, luck would have been that we got 6 very good clinicians who worked day and night, I want to use the word here, and then they created this standard in the hard work of about 8 to 9 months of time, and that is where in December 2005, final this draft was submitted, January 2006, NABH board, by the time we had constituted, approved the standard, and February 2006 is the one when we actually launched the standard in the country for accreditation. So this is the brief historical part that how NABH got evolved, and we, of course, till that time, our standard was our own national standard. It has no global recognition. But the rule of the law is that you first launch the standard, run the standard, then approach the international body for its approval. And that is what precisely we did. When we launched the standard, we had to do, I think that 1 year, if I remember, we did about 100 awareness programs across the country, because I can tell you, today you are talking very comfortably that accreditation easy and everybody is demanding accreditation. That time it was so difficult to sell the accreditation because none of the hospitals were very keen, And that's what I am showing you here, just that who was the first to apply. And the day of this application came, we were very happy. At least some hospital has applied. So MIMS Calicut was the first hospital which made its application, to us. Anyway, I think we, by the time, trained 100 assessors in that 1 year. And then the D-date came, next February 2007. In 1 year time, you remember now, in 1 year time, we could only get 5 hospitals who could qualify for accreditation. So it was, that initial journey is always difficult, always exciting, always challenging. So these 5 hospitals got that moment of the pride for them, because I don't think it will happen again, I am not sure, that the President of India is handing over certificate of accreditation to these 5 hospitals. But the advantage, what we gained, after that, there was a rush of application. Oh, President gives certificate. And so everybody started, So these all few things help. Whenever you launch anything of this kind, if you create that aura, that this is a certification or accreditation, and where President came, or I mean, do something like that, then actually so I think I always remember our great Abdul Kalam, that he came, and this is the way it gave push to the accreditation or quality in healthcare in our country, Anyway, I think then, of course, rest of things started falling in place. We decided to launch accreditation for blood bank. Just because the ministry was running the licensing of the blood bank, they said, no, you also launch the blood bank. Although later on I realized it was not required at that point of time. But anyway, it came in the line. And of course, then we became the founding member in the ESQA, that is the Asian branch of International Society for Quality in Healthcare. And another big thing which happened in 2007 and 8 was that the Ministry of Health decided to incentivize those hospitals which are having NABH accreditation with 15% more money under the CGHS scheme. Again, that provided big boost at that point of time, because 15% is a good amount of money. So this is, anyway, then we continue to keep on launching, the other standard. And then, of course, this is one thing which I want to bring out to all of you here, that when this was going on, 2006, 2007, 2008, somewhere along the line, impression was given that the government hospital cannot qualify for NABH because they found it is too difficult, tough to meet the requirement. And that time, I want to give credit to 3 governments, Gujarat, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. These are the only 3 governments. They thought, why not we? So their respective secretaries, including, if I remember, the minister at that time in Kerala was one Mrs. Srimati Teacher. She said, I want to go and see some of your hospitals which are accredited. She took a round tour of the 3-4 hospitals. That used to be the enthusiasm even in the political class. So these 3 states started building their district hospital for accreditation. Though the success might have been very little, but if they prepared for 100 hospitals, even if 10 got, remaining 90 had spread the word on quality across. I think that was the biggest boost, which of course was quickly followed up by Karnataka, followed up by Maharashtra, Delhi, and few other states, where this journey of quality and accreditation started going on, And of course, the first hospital in the government sector was CNBC, Chacha Nehru Bal Chikitsalaya in Delhi. And because that was the first hospital to get accredited, we decided to pick up the medical superintendent, Dr. Kalra, as my successor in NABH. So maybe that is the reason, he was picked up in NABH. So anyway, I think then we developed the standard for Ayush Hospital, and a lot of other things started happening. If you can see this, these slides are, I'm leaving it here. I think some of it can be distributed just to have record of it, all those, what actually all happened. Dental hospital accreditation, clinic accreditation, and all these things started happening. And if I remember, when the first medical dental college was accredited in Delhi, the Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit herself came, and she received certificate from me that, okay. So, that is a kind of, seriousness it was, it used to be. And I think our job is to continue, we should continue to accord that seriousness to this kind of initiative. And then, of course, something which happened great was that the Philippines invited India, NABH, to launch accreditation in that country. And I think with the effort of about 1.5 years, we got 4 hospitals accredited in Philippines, and that is the way generated NABH-I. The way you call JCI, we created NABH-I. This, of course, should have been promoted in a big way, but somehow I think we could not sustain, in spite that there was a huge demand from Middle East countries, Sri Lanka, Iran, and things like that. But I think because we got tied down with our own workload in India, otherwise I think, this also I want to just say for a half a minute, because this is very emotional for me, that in year 2011, Pakistan invited us, in spite of the relationship we had. And we conducted 2 days program for the doctors in Pakistan, and they requested us to transfer the standard to them, and we agreed. Unfortunately, after our visit was over, in the next 2-3 months, there was some incident on the border, and the whole relationship got reversed down. Otherwise, I think this accreditation would have proved to be the binding connection between the two countries. That is very important to mention here. Anyway, I think then, of course, we continued to do MOU with J&K, Karnataka, and a lot of things started happening. And the Clinical Establishment Act, they invited QCI NABH to be the member of. So that means the government also started recognizing that, yeah, NABH has something, which why they brought them on the board of the Clinical Establishment Act 2010. And this, in 2010-11, we got 100th hospital accredited. So you can imagine now, 2006 to 2011, in about exactly 5 years' time, we got 100 hospitals. That used to be the speed, you can say. Now, of course, speed this keeps on going because people start learning tricks of the trade. The demand goes, the motivation goes, incentivization is increasing, So that is the way. And that incentivization, I can say that today you are talking of IRDA. That IRDA 2 years back started saying that all hospitals need a minimum accreditation, without which you will not be impaneled by any private insurance company. And our friend Dr. Alex sitting here is the one man who actually created that big boost, to this demand by IRDA. So these things actually, drive the demand on accreditation. Okay, and now, of course, this is a very important point, of course. This is the certificate which I am showing you, that in 2008, we launched in 2006, but in 2008, we got our standards accredited by ISQA, and in 2012, we got re-accredited by ISQA. So after 2008, the hospital which got accredited had, that means the global recognition all over because of the ISQA. And in 2012, that is the time I left the NABH, in July, that ISQA also granted accreditation to us as an organization. So both the accreditation we continue to have today, standard as well as the organization. That was important point here. Anyway, I think so, and this is the last MOU we signed in Iran, So the countries like, Iran, Pakistan, you name, actually, you don't think that they will work with India. But yes, because the NABH had that power or attraction, that these countries approached us for, this is the team, which we got inspected by ISQA team. And in 2000, this is a photograph of 2012 in, must be July, July, yes, that's right, So anyway, now I think the question is, why you need accreditation? This is a journey till 2012, and I think subsequent journey also, I think I will not be touching upon. I think my other friends will touch upon, because 2012 onward, while NABH is becoming more and more busy in granting accreditation, certification now, the organization which got created, Consortium of Accredited Hospital, which is the most important stakeholder, has taken the big initiative in the country to spread the movement on quality. Because somewhere down the line, we got impression that accreditation means quality. Now that is, I think, the biggest mistake we'll be making if you have that impression. Accreditation is only the framework for quality governance of hospitals. You remember this word. Accreditation is framework for quality governance of the hospital because it includes clinical outcomes, it includes managerial outcome, service quality, clinical quality, but not the quality by itself. So you have to keep building quality, and that's where I think the CAHO, and partly I now work in HPI, although HPI is basically for advocacy, but we still try to push as and when required the subject of quality. So I think this movement has to take a big push, and the institution like CMC has got equal responsibility, the kind of respect the CMC has in the medical fraternity. I think it can play a much bigger role in bringing the clinician in the fold of quality. So I think this last point I will just rush through, that a lot of challenges still are there. The two challenges which I keep mentioning are, you please remember, the country will face or is facing is the patient safety. The kind of millions of medical errors keep on happening without the knowledge of healthcare givers is the biggest challenge. And next challenge is how do we make healthcare affordable? I think the answer to both is within the accreditation, within the quality governance, clinical governance, all these things, two challenges we must focus: patient safety and making healthcare affordable. And that is where actually all initiatives actually are continue to have. We got 300 hospitals accredited in 9. Of course, now today we have got 550 hospitals accredited, and around 1,500 are certified to that basic standard of the entry level, what we call. But anyway, I think so. This is the lesson learned. The last lesson is very important for me. Community empowerment. The day we are able to empower community, when the community will start demanding for accreditation or quality, that actually will change the whole scenario. Forget about incentive by paying agency, government, but the best is empower the community, and that's actually where we'll have it. So I think we need to build capacity in the country. We need to engage the leaders by linking quality with their financial gain. Other day in a conference, I was very happy to see that one of the hospitals, very leading hospital, got up and said that average length of stay in our hospital now we have come to 2.9. I was really surprised that 2.9 is the average length of stay in that hospital. If that can happen, I think we have achieved the landmark. Now, anyway, I think so ultimately, I think there's a lot of emphasis. Even the Quality Council of India now must put a lot of emphasis, increased emphasis, because NABH is a very precious organization. We must build that structure of NABH, including the leadership, in a way that it brings the foundation, lays the foundation for patient safety in our country. Thank you very much.